Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am a financial guy. I love to keep up with what's going on in financial markets, but I also like to talk about money in general. Given that my dissertation was written on financial psychology, I've been really intrigued with how money affects how we think, how money affects who we date, how money affects who we want to be our friends, and also how men just suddenly seem to become more handsome when they get more money. I never understood that. So I asked the fellows on my Instagram. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins, and I said, "Fellas, what makes a woman a gold digger? Like, how do you differentiate a gold digger versus a woman who just wants financial security?" So we're going to talk about that right now on the Black Financial Channel. Let's get started. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. Make sure you subscribe to theblackfinancialchannel.com, theblackfinancialchannel.com. We do daily financial news and commentary from a Black perspective, and we love to talk about everything that relates to money. In all the years I've been teaching about money and investing and finance, I've always been most intrigued with how money affects our lives. Money is the reason that most of us get up in the morning. Money is the reason that people live where they live, why they do what they do. Sometimes you work for a complete jerk because you need the money, right? You put up with all kinds of stuff because of money. Maybe you date somebody because they have money and you don't. So I've always really been intrigued with this term called gold digger. I'm not saying she's a gold digger, and I hear guys use it all the time. And so I decided on my Instagram. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins. We like to have intelligent conversations there. And I just said, what makes a woman a gold digger? And I just asked the men to give me an honest answer, because people don't listen to Black men. I don't think anybody listens to Black men. I think people will always listen to any woman who wants to bash Black men. Everybody bashes Black men. Give me a yes or no if you know what I'm talking about. Everybody bashes Black men. It's always Black men's fault. If so and so gets elected to the White House, it's Black men's fault. When the families break up, it's Black men's fault. The relationship don't go right, it's Black men's fault. Black men, toxic masculinity, all sorts of stuff. I don't believe any of that. I believe that there are good and bad people, and I think that that's what it is. And I think that we have to recognize it that way. And so, anyway, first I should say hello to Leonaho and Debt Free Dad and Nathaniel and Emmy and Tony Sarge and everything else. And do me a favor, give me a yes or no in the chat if you can hear me okay. Let me know if you can hear me okay. You won't be able to see me. I'm not going to go on video because I'm actually out at sea and the Wi-Fi is really bad. And I just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. So give me a yes or no if you can hear me all right. So let's get into it. I put on my Instagram, I just asked this basic question. I said, question for the fellas. What makes a woman a gold digger? And what I want to do is read some of the answers. And that way we can kind of hear some of this and kind of think this through. I think the ladies should be interested in this as well. I can just tell you, ladies, if you want to figure out how to get something out of men, whatever it is you want from a man, the best way to get what you want out of men is to listen to men. You don't tell men what we should want. You should ask us what we want, and then we'll tell you. I will tell you, there's a lot of good brothers out here, and it really bothers me when I hear people just act like Black men are just from another planet, or that something's wrong with us, or that we're all halfway retarded, and that that we don't love anybody, we don't care about our own kids, we're not good people. I just think that's not true. I think that's not true, and I mean, it may be true for some people. I mean, there's assholes in every community, but Black men are as diverse as any other group of people. So let me read some of the answers to you. This is how some men differentiate between a gold digger and a woman who just maybe wants financial security. Jabril Wynn says, if she only wants me for my resources and nothing else. So he's saying that if she only wants the money and she doesn't want anything else, then that might make her a gold digger. Monkeys Be Napping, that's a funny name. He says, when money is something they demand and require and desire, but don't have or contribute any. So he's saying that when women want money and don't have any money, that makes them a gold digger. Do you disagree with? Or do you agree with that or not? What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Um, I don't think that's a. I honestly think that statement I can't agree with, because here's the deal. We like to live in this world where we like to believe that everything is completely balanced, and that there's complete equality across the board in every category, that men and women should all want the same things at the same level. And if a man wants to go to battle and pick up a gun, that women should want to do the same thing, which is fine. I mean, women can serve in the military; millions of them do. But but if I go survey a group of little girls and ask them what they want out of life, they're not going to want the same thing as the boys. The boys are not going to want to wear pretty dresses most of the time. Now, in our community, we got a lot more boys wearing dresses. It seems like I don't know where that all comes from. But I think that, that this idea that men and women have to be the same is stupid. It's just stupid. It's just dumb. It's some crap that liberals put into your head, that gender is a figment of your imagination, or that gender doesn't exist. No, that I believe gender does exist, and I believe that men and women are different. So I believe that a double standard is okay. I think it's okay for a woman to not have any money, but to want a man that has money. I think that's okay. You might think I'm crazy for saying it, but let me explain. Hear me out. Hear me out. Well, think about this, right? Fellas, when you look at a woman, you might want her to have long, pretty hair. But how long and pretty is your hair? Do you have long, pretty hair too? Are you bringing long and pretty hair to the table? You might want her to have a big booty. Give me shout yourself out. Go ahead and tell on yourself. Every black man in the room who likes a nice, shapely booty on a black woman, say something in the chat. Let's give a shout out to black women's beautiful bodies. Not all black women have the booty. I'm stereotyping here, but I ain't gonna lie. Alicia got the PhD, but I will confess that I noticed her booty before I noticed her brain. I ain't gonna lie. I did, but I was 22, so that's what it was. Right. So let's give a shout out to black women and their beautiful booties, right? Among other things. They got other things. They got a whole lot. They got the whole package, but the booty's very nice. Right. So if you like a woman that has a big booty, does that mean you have to have a big booty too? Like, I guess that what you're supposed to have a booty? No. No. You see, what people don't understand is that the dating market it's a trade. A trade is not a situation where each person has the same thing the other person has. That's why you trade. If I already got everything that you can give me, then why in the hell do I want to trade with you? If I got bananas, why would I trade my bananas for your bananas? That doesn't make any sense. No, if I'm trading with you and I have bananas and I need apples, I'm going to trade you some bananas for some apples. I'm trading with you because you have something that I don't have, and I have something that you don't have, and we both have something that the other person needs. That's why we form a partnership. So to say that a woman who wants a man that has money has to have just as much money, she got to bring a bunch of money to the table, I think that's a little bit misguided. I really do. And I think that's a little bit naive. I think that you've been lied to when you go forth in life believing that women are not in tune with a man's ability to provide financial security. Now I'm not saying that that's the only thing in the world. I'm not saying that that's always true. But how many of you have noticed that men who have more money just tend to be more handsome? Anybody notice that? Give me a yes or no. If you've ever noticed how when men, this was my experience, when I got a little more money, I suddenly became much more handsome than I was before. How many of you notice that women, and even good women, even women who are not gold diggers, if you tell them, girl, I met a man, oh, he's a doctor. Oh, girl, oh, what? Oh, girl, you hit the jackpot, girl. Right? Seriously. And these are not conversations among, dirty leeching women who just want to suck a man dry. These are just women that are just naturally responding to the things that they like, just the same way men respond when a lady has a big booty or some boobs or some long, pretty hair. So I think that it's kind of funny though, when that any mention of money can easily trigger the accusation of a gold digger toward a woman. But we don't say the same things when men talk about what we want. We have things that we want, so I think that there is a double standard. There's a saying that I heard, and it's kind of a hurtful saying in the sense, for some people, but I think it's important to give you reality. And the saying was that a man without money is like a wolf without teeth. Let me say it again. The saying was that a man without money is like a wolf without teeth. And I thought that statement was a very harsh way to give you a dose of reality. That as a man, and I believe this is specific to men, if you have the inability to provide financial security for a woman and for your children, you are not seen as an adequate man. It's like having a 2-inch penis. It really is. And I think that and the thing is, we live in this weird world where people want to act like money doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter until it matters. Money doesn't matter until it matters. Most people who say money doesn't matter are usually people that have enough money where it doesn't matter anymore. That's like right now, a bathroom doesn't matter to me. I ain't thinking about no bathrooms. But let my bladder fill up. And if I gotta go pee, then suddenly a bathroom becomes the most important thing in the world. If I gotta use it, then suddenly a bathroom is the most important thing in the world. And some people may think that's an old fashioned way of looking at it. I think Frank Navarro says your mentality is in the 90s, Dr. Boyce. Well, that wasn't just true in the 90s. That was true in the 70s. It was true in the 50s. It was true in the 40s. It was true. It's true today. At the end of the day, there are things that women want from men, and security is one of them. It's not just financial security. It might be emotional security. That's why women like confident men more than they like men who lack confidence. It might be physical security. That's why women on average tend to like men who have big muscles as opposed to little scrawny, skinny, wimpy men. It might be some other type of security. Maybe just be power. That's why when Barack Obama ran for president, he became one of the most sexy men in America because he was one of the most powerful men in America. And anybody who tells you different, anybody who lies to you about that is not doing you any favors. That's why I think it's very important for black men to compete. You got your balls cut off, and then some of y'all get mad and start whining when some of these women start dating white men. Well, if you're walking around and you're a wimpy black man and your balls are cut off, then she's going to go where the security is. It doesn't mean that she's necessarily a sellout or anything like that. I mean, I'd like for people to be loyal to each other. I'd like for black men to be loyal to black women, but we have to also ask ourselves: are you giving the other person something to be loyal to? I know most black women I know, honestly, they don't need you to be a millionaire. They don't need you to have a whole bunch of money. I think that they just want you to try. Like, I think that really, so for example, I'm marrying a black woman that I love very much. And, I really think that even if I didn't have enough money in the bank, I think that she would probably just be proud of me if I got up every day and did my best, if rather than if I just gave up. If I just gave up and said, well, I can't provide, but you should be providing more than I do. You should be doing what I do because men and women are equal, and you should. I don't think she would like that. I think that she would want me to kind of at least try my best to take charge of my masculinity. So, so I just really think that the best advice I can give young guys is don't believe the bullshit when people tell you that money should never matter or that women should have the same money as men, and that you should go Dutch on every date and all this other stuff. The world just don't work that way. There are differences. What are some things that you might want from a woman? Well, maybe men want feminine things. Like they might want a woman to be able to nurture, and women are naturally better nurturers than men. Alicia's better with the kids than I am. I love the kids, but I can't do some of the things that she can do with a baby. I can't hold a baby and make a baby stop crying. She can do that. I can't go into the kitchen and cook up the best meal in history. It doesn't mean men can't cook. I mean, there are lots of men that can cook, but cooking was never something that was my first instinct. My first instinct was to go out and fight and to go hunt and bring home resources. I want to bring home the bacon and then let her cook it. That's the agreement that we have. Every relationship's a little bit different. But I think that what's really important is you must ask yourself, am I bringing the same thing to the table as my partner? I don't think that's the question. If she's doing this, then I should be doing this too. Or if he's bringing that, I should be bringing that too. No, I think the question is, are you bringing something to the table that your partner values that can be exchanged as an equivalence to what you're asking them to do for you? Right. So here you go. So if a woman expects a man to provide financial security, I think she has to ask herself, what am I bringing to the table that he values enough that he will provide financial security to me in exchange for whatever it is I'm bringing? Because some people, and women and men, some people bring nothing to the table and expect everything. And then those people get disappointed because nobody wants to be with them. You can't expect a man or a woman, either side. This is not even gender specific. You can't expect somebody to bring you the things you want. Like some guys do that. Some guys want the badass woman, give them all the sex in the world, cook their meals, and take care of them like a husband. But you can't bring nothing to the table. You ain't bringing no goddamn money. You ain't bringing no commitment. You're not bringing emotional security. You don't have her back in difficult situations. You ain't bringing nothing to the table, but you expect everything. What is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You get people that do that, and they're like, "Oh, these hoes ain't loyal. They ain't loyal. She left me. I can't believe she left me. These hoes ain't loyal." Well, you know, you weren't loyal to her, so why should she be loyal to you? When did you ever at any point take an inventory of what you were bringing to the table that made her want to be with you? And if you can't think of anything, then that's a problem on your end. And the same thing, I've seen the same thing happen with women. I've seen women maybe, here's a mistake I've seen with a lot of women, where they will look pretty and have a great body and have a master's degree and think, okay, now I'm bringing all this stuff to the table. A man should want me. But yet, you got a stank attitude. Maybe you emasculate men, don't know how to talk to a man, right? Just like you should know how to talk to a woman. There's a way you talk to a man. Don't know how to talk to men. Treat men like crap. Can't cook. Don't want to clean nothing. Don't want to take care of no kids. But yet you think you all that because you look good and you got a master's degree. Well, sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes that's not what he wants. Sometimes he might just want you to be a woman. Maybe he wants something from you that you can't offer sexually. I don't know. But what I have found, what I would conclude is that everybody has the right to want what they want, and it's important for you to try to figure out what they want instead of telling them what they want. Right? Instead of telling him, "Oh, you should want me because look at how good I look, and look at how much education I have, and I'm black girl magic. I got it all together." Right? That's fine. While you're sitting there smelling yourself, did you stop and ask him, like, what do you want? Like, how can I be an extraordinary woman for you? How can I serve you, daddy? Whatever it is you want, whatever language you want to use. I think it's okay to go ahead and tell your partner like that they are important to you, that you want to put them on a pedestal and you want to give them excellent customer service so they'll be very happy with the product. I think it's okay. I do that. Believe me, I put my woman on the pedestal. I ask her, I say, what can I do to be such a great man for you that I don't have to worry about the competition? I know how pretty you are. I remember when I knew Alicia when we were younger. We were friends for a long time, and then we chose to have a relationship later in life. And I remember when we were younger, I remember going into a club with her one time, and I saw all the men that just like clamored to her, like tried to just touch her arm like she was the Pope. And I said, "Oh my God, this is insane. What's going on here?" So I knew I had competition. I saw NBA and NFL players trying to hit on her, all kinds of stuff. And so my question always was, rather than me being jealous and barking like an angry dog every time another man comes around you, how about I just ask you what you need from me? Because I got the incumbent's advantage. I'm the incumbent. I'm the man that's right next to you, that wakes up next to you every day. So if this gets messed up, it's going to be large. It'll probably be because I chose to mess it up. So I'm not going to let this fall apart deliberately because I just did something stupid or like ignore your needs. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need from me so I can be an excellent man to you. And what I found was when I asked her what she wanted, instead of telling her what she wanted, instead of saying, well, because I could have done it the way a lot of people do. I could have been like, well, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins and I have a PhD and I make lots of money and I'm very, very well respected around the world and blah, blah, blah. You should be honored to be with me. I could have done that, but I didn't do that. I said, what would you like? What can I do for you? And she told me. And believe me, these were the things she told me she wanted from me were things that had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I was Dr. Boyce Watkins. Nothing. Now, me having money doesn't matter. It literally was not high on the priority list. Me having a PhD, well, she's got a PhD. She doesn't need me to have one because she already got one. It was the basic stuff. It was like, I want you to have a conversation with me a couple times a day. I want you to talk to me because she's a social connector. She connects through conversation. So I had to focus on, okay, how do I have a good conversation? How do I make sure that I'm talking to her in a way where she knows that I'm attentive and that I'm there, right? So what I think is that a lot of people don't spend time. They think that it's old fashioned, or they think that it undermines their feminine power to literally cater to their partner and ask them what they want. I think that that's the perfect way to make somebody happy. I think people who don't do that, they get dumped and they don't even know why. They don't even fucking know why. They have no idea. Like, wait, look at how good I look and look at how blah, blah, blah I am. And then you got some girlfriend in your ear talking about, girl, these niggas ain't shit. These men ain't nothing. They just can't handle a strong black woman. Well, no, it ain't that they couldn't handle a strong woman. Maybe you're just an asshole. Like maybe you think that being a strong woman means barking at people and talking down on people and being mean to people. Like, maybe that's what your problem is. And you think that they just can't handle you, and something's wrong with them. When really maybe it's because you're not taking the time to figure out what somebody actually wants. Now, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and also, just so you guys know, if you're interested in things like financial security, there's actually a free thing that I have up here at blackfinancialsecurity.com. It's a lecture that I give away to the public. You can feel free to go take a look. And I talk about the keys to financial security and just what that looks like. So feel free to go take a look at that. There's a URL on the screen. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Let me read more of these responses from men when I asked them what makes a woman a gold digger. Um, let's see here. Blacksmith 4480 says male opinion is irrelevant. It's whatever the woman feels. I don't know what that comment means, so I'm gonna move on. Sharita says I can't. Oh wait, okay. She says I can't wait to read the messages. Moritz says if she believes you are supposed to come out of your pocket, at least when you say hi to her. So he says it's when you ask for money just to say hi, or when you expect a man to just pay for anything, anytime. Okay, and then someone else says demanding while delivering nothing. So New York Chris says adding no value to the relationship and expecting things in return. Emphasis on expecting. So that almost sounds like it goes really back to in Powernomics. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about the doctrine of unequal exchange, and the doctrine of unequal exchange pretty much means that you are asking for something, but you're not giving anything back. So whenever you engage in unequal exchange, then people are going to feel violated. And I think that's what they're basically saying. Beef Alert says when she has no interest in you at all, but only what you can do for her financially. Um, let's see here. Somebody says asking for time. My time is money. So he says Heat Wave says she's a gold digger. She asks for his time, and time is money. I don't know if I can agree with that. Skeet Moses says I tell girls and women to make sure they can get their own. Yeah, that's kind of a like a new millennium or like 2020 kind of thing that a lot of men have been trained to do. And I think it's because we have a fatherless community. When you lost a lot of your fathers in your community, you lost a lot of your masculinity. So a lot of your men, here's what happened when you lost all your fathers. This is why I'm so mad at Joe Biden. When you lost all your fathers in the black community, the boys lost their role models. So the boys never learned what a man's supposed to do. They don't know what a man's supposed to do. I had a conversation with David Banner. David Banner's he's a rapper, but he's so much more. He's an activist. He does a lot of great things. And David and I have great conversations. And one thing David said that was really interesting was he said that when I used to try to figure out what to do as a man, I would just do what my father did. I would just remember what my father said, what my father used to do. And I said, wow, I did the same thing. I do the exact same thing. I would just model my dad. And a lot of boys don't have a dad to model. So it changes so all they know how to reference is either what they saw on TV or they reference their mother, right? So they do what their mother would do. So they saw their mother growing up kind of handling everything, kind of being the mother and the father of the household, being the leader of the pack. So a lot of boys grow up looking for a woman to pretty much take the place of their mother. They're looking for another woman who's going to do what their mama did and just kind of run the whole household. And you sit back and you ride in the back seat with the children, and you basically, sit in your drawers and play Xbox and smoke weed all day while she goes out and works and makes all the money or whatever. So you get these weak men that never learn what a man's supposed to do. Now on the flip side, with women, what I have observed is that women that don't have their fathers and maybe they have bad relationships with their fathers tend to have a hard time dealing with men because men disappoint them. They're easily triggered by a man coming up short, making a mistake, or whatever the case may be. The trust barrier there that's necessary for a relationship to build isn't really there. So that lack of trust causes these easy triggers to sort of be ignited that will cause you to cut guys off really, really fast. And also, it does create just due to survival, because this is what black women had to do. It kind of creates this inability to say, okay, I can depend on a man. It says I'm not going to bow to a man. I don't need a man. just that kind of mindset. And when a man feels like you don't need him, like if you let a man know like he's not important to the household, a lot of men will just go, because commitment takes work. It's very hard to be committed, for some guys and women as well. But I think is definitely for men. I hear a lot of guys that say, man, I wish I could be free. I wish I could go out and have 3 girlfriends and do whatever. There's plenty of single women out here that, they all they want is sex. So I could just have 2 or 3 girlfriends and have sex with them and live my life and enjoy my life. And so some people might say, well, that's irresponsible. That's this and that's that. Well, no, it's if that's how you want to live your life, that's what you want to do. But I can definitely tell you that if you convince a man that you do not need him, a lot of times he will go. Like if you make a man feel unwanted and unneeded and unempowered, he will walk out. And I can't really even discredit that mindset, because I can just tell you that one of my challenges was I joined a blended family. I decided to marry a woman that had kids, and if she had been disrespectful to me or emasculated me or made me feel like I wasn't necessary or that I had no voice, I would have probably backed off. I would have said, you know what? You got this. You running this thing. You're the boss. I'm going to step to the side because I don't want to infringe on your territory. So when a woman engages in that kind of overbearing masculine behavior, like sort of like I'm running all this and I'm doing all this and that kind of thing, then unfortunately the relationship is not masculine and feminine energy. It's masculine versus masculine. It's like 2 dudes in a relationship, 2 football players trying to fuck each other. And basically when that happens, a man is not going to treat you like a woman that needs to be loved, nurtured, and protected. He's going to deal with you like another dude. And dudes don't deal with dudes the way dudes deal with women. When a woman shows her feminine energy, it brings out a certain energy in men that makes us more protective and shelter, things like that. But if he's confronted with masculine energy, it definitely makes him feel combative and competitive, right? And so that competitiveness can cause a lot of chaos in a lot of these relationships. And it's not anybody's fault. It's just, I mean, it's if you want to blame anybody, blame white supremacy. I mean, they sent all the black men to prison, so you have these people trying to figure out relationships, and a lot of the women don't know how to deal with a man. They never had a man in the house growing up. Not a grown man. Maybe an older brother, but that's about it. A lot of the boys never had a dad in the house. They don't know what dad's supposed to do. There's about 1,000 things, that 1,000 puzzles I had to solve in my relationship with Alicia, that literally I had to reference how my father dealt with my mother. Things I would see my mother and father deal with back 20 years ago, you know, when my dad would kind of let things slide or whatever, or let her, just kind of, like defer to her, or things that he would do, in response to tough situations. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't know what to do. I would be completely confused. So basically what I'm saying is that a lot of people are confused, and I think that what a guy like me can do is not necessarily tell people what to do, because I'm not, first of all, I'm not a relationship therapist. I'm not trying to, this is Uncle Boyce talking. So Uncle Boyce has seen some things, but he does not have a degree in relationships. Now I am marrying a woman who is a relationship therapist, so that does give me some reference, but I don't know everything. But I am a man. I'm pretty good at that. I've been a man for my whole life now, and also I've seen some things, and I can tell you that a lot of the reason that relationships don't last today is because people are just confused. They don't know what the roles are. They're like, okay, wait, men are like, wait a minute, am I supposed to be assertive and masculine, or am I supposed to like kind of tone that down, because you think it's toxic, or when are you taking over, when am I taking over? And that's where I think a lot of communication is very important. And so I think with this gold diggers conversation, that's kind of a good jump off point, because I hear a lot of men that are very quick to complain about women being gold diggers when they simply want something that I believe is pretty innate to a lot of women, which is financial security. If you look at every single thing, I carefully analyze all the things that women tend to be attracted to. They almost always link back to security. I'm not kidding. Like everything from physical security, emotional security. That's why they like confident men. They like intelligent men. That's another type of security, right? Intelligent men can solve problems. Intelligent men can teach you things, right? What else? Financial security. I mean, financial security is huge. A lot of women grew up poor. They don't want to be poor. They don't want to be with a guy that's poor anymore. And I think that's okay. I don't think that makes her a bad person, right? Now, if a person is going to dump you because due to no fault of your own, you lost your money. Well, that's a problem. That's like a guy who maybe is in love with a woman because he loves her body, but she gets cancer and it disrupts her body. Like maybe she gains weight or whatever from her therapy for cancer. Like no decent man is going to walk away from a woman because of something like that because that's not her fault, right? Now, that's different from though. That's much different though from a woman who just lets herself go. A woman who could have stayed in good shape but chose to eat Cheetos and barbecue chicken and hot dogs and hamburgers and chocolate cake every day and didn't care enough to try to look her best, right? So the same thing is true, I think, with men. That if a man is just being a lazy ass piece of shit and doesn't want to do anything and makes excuses and doesn't want to step up to the plate, that's very different from a man who is normally a man's man and steps up to the plate and just has something unfortunate happen. Maybe he loses his job and he's still trying. He's working hard to find other ways to provide for the family. Like you can tell a person who, as a core value, feels that they have a specific role to fulfill in the relationship. People that have that as a core value are tend to be better partners, right? So what I would say, if you want Uncle Boyce advice, so let me give you Uncle Boyce advice. But before that, let me ask you guys if you could please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and also text the word Boyce to 31996 if you'd like to get notifications a couple times a week when we go live. And also the blackloveblueprint.com. We actually have like a couple films we actually made on relationships, as well as like a whole curriculum on love and money, stuff like that. So feel free to go check that out if you want to. There's a URL. All right. So my Uncle Boyce advice, if I was to give Uncle Boyce advice for women, first of all, I would say to women, this is what I would say to my daughters, what I do say to my daughters. There's nothing wrong with wanting what you want. Like if you want a guy that has some money, then shit, get you a man that's got some money, right? Just be ready to pay the cost of admission, whatever that means, and don't let money overwhelm the decision-making process. Like if you become a one-issue voter when it comes to money, like if money becomes a one-dimensional objective for you that shapes and defines everything else, then you're gonna end up in bad situations. If all you do is chase the man that's got the most money, then you're gonna end up with a lot of really horrible men. You're gonna deal. I know guys. I know dope dealers who got money. I know men who beat women who have money. I know men who men who are involved in criminal activity that have plenty of money. Men who got STDs and 25 girlfriends and 8 babies mamas that have money. So if you're willing to share your precious womb with a man just because he has money, then you're probably going to end up in a very bad situation. It's kind of almost like being a drug addict, where a drug addict will go anywhere to get the drug, and then they end up in a lot of bad situations because the drugs will pull you in directions that you should not go. So it's okay to want money and want financial security, but I think that you have to include that as part of a broader decision making process when it comes to men. Figure out the other things that matter to you, and then also figure out what role you can play to obtain your own financial security. Because if you really do like financial security, it's kind of a disadvantageous position to put yourself in when you are seeking financial security but have no ability to provide financial security on your own. So that's why I talk to my daughters a lot about economics and making your own money, because I say, look, if you can make your own money, then you don't have to pick a man based on money because you got plenty of money. Then you can focus on the other things that you need besides money, right? So, but I would say for women, just pick based on what you want. I mean, it's okay to want what you want. But bring something. Just understand though that there are going to be expectations. If you, for example, I'll give you another example. Just real life here. I'm a man that I have plenty of money. I have enough money to do what I want to do, right? And when I was single, I would meet lots of women who found that appealing. Those are the two things that would attract women. One was
There are some women out here. I thought it was the craziest thing. There are some women out here that are really aroused by intelligent men. Like you say something smart and they literally start to like get wet. Like it was the craziest thing. I never understood it. I forgot what they call it. There's a name for it. Somebody typed the name in there so I can remember what it is. I forgot what it is, but I can identify it, right? Because I think about things a lot, and I always laugh. It makes me laugh. It's kind of funny. And the other thing is like when you have like some money and some power, people might find that appealing. But here's the thing: if you can't sapiosexual, thank you, Nathaniel. That's what it is, sapiosexual. So I've attracted a few of those, right? Because I'm not a stupid person. It just is what it is. But the thing about it is, if you're coming up here and you're wanting these things, there's nothing wrong with wanting those things. It's almost like when ladies meet a man and you know he's trying to get in your pants. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with him wanting to get into your pants, but he's got to have something that he brings to the table that's going to make you want to let him into your pants. So if somebody is, if I would meet somebody, I didn't care if a woman wanted financial security. I think that's very natural. There's nothing wrong with that. My thought would be, okay, so how, where's the trade? If it's something shallow like, oh, I look good and I have a master's degree, well, that's not enough. And really the best way to find out what enough is to ask me. Like the smartest the smartest women I ever met were the ones who would say, what would you like? What's good? What would make you happy? And then I say, okay, yeah, I want this and this and this. And then next thing you know, you're like, okay, now we have a deal. Now this works. This works. What you want to go in the bank account? Here you go. How much money you need? Because you're now offering me something that I want. You're not assuming you know what I want. You see, and the thing is, the reason I bring that up is because that process of simply caring enough about a person to cater to them and ask them what they want is that requires humility. People don't have any fucking humility. And I think and as much as like people are on this whole quest for like women's rights and feminism and I'm a strong independent woman and blah 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 blah, sometimes it can make you into an asshole if you're not careful. Sometimes it can make you into that person who's so arrogant that you don't listen to men. You just tell them what to think and tell them what you believe and tell them what you want. And all that matters is what you want. You don't spend 1 second asking that man, what's gonna make you happy, babe? How can I really be there for you? And sometimes it might even be something as simple as just listening to him. My God, I mean, I know guys who just are like, man, don't nobody listen. Every time I talk, I get beat up on, so they don't say anything. A woman that will just listen to a man can really get into a man's soul really well. I've just found that. This is my 2 cents. So I think the last piece of advice I would give to ladies, I know it sounds so weird. I'm giving this relationship advice, but fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway. Some of y'all don't have daddies and stuff that can tell you this stuff, so Uncle Boyce will share these things with you. The other piece I would say is that when you're judging a man, just know, like, there are some men who take their masculinity very seriously, who are not toxic, who just want to be good men, who just want to be real men. Like whatever that means to them, they're still learning. They're trying to figure it out, but they want to be men. Like that's important. That's a core value for them. And there are some men who are just bitches. Some men just fucking wimps. Like just they ain't got no fight in them. They've been turned. Maybe they might as well put on little tampons or whatever. And I think that if you want a man who's masculine, who's not overly masculine, but who's just masculine enough to take his manhood seriously, that's a core value that a man has. Like that's a decision that a man has. That's a choice he makes. A man every day, I believe, makes a decision every day to be a man. And that might mean, making sure you come through for your kids. It might mean going out and hustling to make another dollar. It might mean really, making good love to your woman, or it might mean whatever. It might mean something. It might mean protection. It might mean nurturing. It might mean security. It might mean something else. But whatever that means for that man, like it's a core value, and you have to identify whether or not that man possesses those core values before you decide to invest in him as a human being. Because some of y'all got some men that are like your little pet projects that ain't never gonna step up to the plate because manhood is not one of their core values. Like you're investing in a losing asset. Women, one thing women do, women are nurturers. Women, on average, I'm stereotyping here, but fuck it. I'm going to just tell the truth. From what I see, from what I've read, women are givers of life. Women love to nurture. Women will make you better. That's their goal. They want to improve you, right? Just like they water a flower, or they grow children in their wombs. It's like a nurturing, life-giving kind of energy. That's a beautiful thing. And so, you don't want to go water a damn dead flower. You you can't you can't you can't raise up a man and try to make him be a man when he doesn't have the core elements of whatever of what manhood is supposed to be. And I'm not talking about like going out and beating people up and shooting people and fighting wars. I'm talking about just basic stuff like taking care of your fucking kids. Some guys just really don't understand. They never had the fortune of that. Like, for example, one thing I had that made me very fortunate was I had a dad who just said, "Stop making excuses. Excuses are not acceptable." Right? That's it. That's it. And unfortunately, that's not as common as I wish it was. Because you have so many excuse making people out here, and it's just unbelievable. Because when you are trying to make it in this world, and you're picking your teammate, you're picking your partner, your partner in crime, your partner is going to help you survive. You don't want a weak ass teammate like that. It's very hard to do anything. Whether you're talking about building a business, taking care of a family, paying the bills, just living life. It's hard to do that with a person who's just weak and broken and can't be rebuilt. Now, my advice to men is, when you talk about picking women, first of all, you know, I don't think that a woman wanting something from you makes her a gold digger or anything like that. I think that women are generally going to want some sort of financial security. So I think it's very important for every black man to just realize that it is extremely important for you to do all you can to understand basic things like where money comes from, how to make money, how to build wealth, stuff like that. That those things will make you more appealing, that will give you more options. That does make you a more respected member of the community. Doesn't mean you have to have millions of dollars, but just basic things like investing and trying to build something. There's a reason. I mean, it's true even with animals. Animals that have the most territory get the most pussy. Like the animals that have the biggest, whether it's giraffes or whatever, like if they have the biggest area, they're gonna get them. Like the most women are gonna be attracted to those animals. That's really true. So this isn't just for humans. This is true for all the mammals almost, right? So, so I think just as a general core value for you, I would encourage you to pursue, um, some sort of economic strength. And I don't think that you're going to get that by trying to sit up under the white man's balls. Like I really think that this whole idea that you as a black man can just do what everybody else is doing and go work for white people and sit up under a white man. I don't think that's going to be a winning strategy for you, because I don't think the world has a place for you. And it's very sad to have to say that. It's very depressing to say that, but it's the reality that you're going to need, because if you don't, you're going to end up minimizing yourself to try to fit into different situations that you don't fit into. And what you're going to find is that the people that fit in best are either gay men or women. Gay men and women can fit into places, a lot of corporate American spaces that masculine black men cannot. So if you want to be a king, you're going to have to learn how to build a castle, but it doesn't have to be a big castle. It just has to be your castle. And I think that people will see you in a different light if you learn how to do that. That's why I think every black boy should learn how to start his own business by the age of 12, so he can at least have his own assets and his own property. And that will make him more appealing to women, and it will make him feel better as a provider for his family and everything else. This whole idea of integration is absolute bullshit. Like, it doesn't work. The statistics show it. The place that they have for black men is prison or the morgue, unless you are a basketball player or a football player. Basically, other areas of society don't really have a space for you. The white people don't really want you around. They want your woman around because they want to fuck her, but they don't want you around. Or if you were gay, they might want you around because they might want to fuck you too. But if you're a masculine heterosexual black male, you're kind of public enemy number one. You're kind of on an island by yourself, but that's okay, because I think that if we work together and we all put our best energy to being successful, we can overcome that. Like we're the original man. They can't mess with us. They can't mess with us. All right. So the other piece of advice I would give you is, you know, don't feel bad about wanting one of the things that you want from a woman. You know, I think that there are, you know, when you talk about falling for a big butt and a smile, there are lots of gorgeous women who seem to have it going on the outside or whatever, but have deep-seated, horrible emotional issues, who are very abusive to men, and then even worse, they'll be abusive to you and then flip it in as if you're abusive to them, maybe because you don't tolerate their abuse, right? This idea that men are the only ones who can be abusive in a relationship is not true. I know a lot of black men who are horribly abused by the women that they're in relationships with. I mean, horribly abused. I mean, yelled at, screamed at, dogged out, emasculated, etc. Don't you put up with none of that shit. You know, if she's doing that to you, you walk away from that. You find you a decent woman. You find you a woman that knows how to talk, like she's got some goddamn sense and knows how to resolve conflicts and wants to be in a healthy, happy relationship. Don't mess around with these crazy, angry, bitter ass bitches. Like the women like that are terrible to be in relationships with. And the worst part is that no one will really understand your pain. No one will really get it when you talk about how terrible it is to be in a relationship with that person. They're gonna blame it on you. It's always gonna because that's the crazy part. A lot of times, the people that are the most aggressive and nasty in the relationships are also the best at flipping shit to make themselves look like the victim. Am I right or am I right? Tell me the truth. Tell me, have you ever seen an abuser, male or female, who literally has mastered the art of making themselves look like the victim? It is the absolute worst situation. The wolf is the first one to put on the damn sheep uniform to say, "Oh, I survived an abusive relationship. Oh my God, he was emotionally abusive." Well, no, maybe he was. You're just saying that because he stopped putting up with your bullshit and he cussed you out the way you cussed him out every day. Now you run around calling yourself a victim. There are people who will do that, and a lot of people will do that to a black man because the black man is seen as the pariah of society. The black man is seen as the aggressor. He's seen as the toxic masculinity. So if you get into any kind of situation where there's a he said she said, people will always believe the she said. People will never believe the he said. They won't believe shit that comes out of your mouth. So you might as well not even try. When you identify this behavior, walk the fuck away. Get away. In fact, if you're smart, you'll try to identify the behavior before you get invested in a relationship with this woman. Don't fall for that big button and smile. Because there are a lot of crazy people that come with a big button and smile. And the other thing too, other little piece is if it ever gets physical, like if you ever deal with a woman who decides she wants to punch people or throw shit or whatever, like don't say a word. Just literally walk out the door. Don't come back. Get out of that situation because if she provokes you, if she keeps hitting you and daring you to hit you and kicks you in the nuts or whatever, and then you respond and you grab her arms or you push her back or whatever, next thing you know, they'll be putting a domestic violence charge on you. You'll be going to jail, and next thing you know, and then you'll be having all these other problems. So if you get into a situation with somebody that does not know how to maturely solve their problems, you should walk away from that situation immediately. Also, this is just general advice for anybody thinking about who they want to date. Vet out that person for a while. People start fucking way too soon. I'm serious. Like, we live in a society where people want to fuck on the third date and shit. Like, what the hell, man? Like, do you know how many diseases like people have? How many other people they've been having sex with? Like, you gonna have sex with somebody you just met on Tuesday? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I mean, all of us like sex. Sex is great. Sex is awesome. But it's like, when you think about this, right? So people, they meet each other, they like each other within 48 hours, they're getting it on. And the next thing you know, you're really in a deep relationship, sharing the literally completely vulnerable to a complete stranger. You're completely vulnerable to somebody who could be the biggest criminal serial killer in the history of mankind. You have no idea. They could be a super spreader. Like, talk about with Corona, they always talk about people with with super, that are super spreaders. Like, you got super spreaders out here, got all kinds of STDs and fucking everything that moves. And you got with that person because you were attracted to them like the last 300 people that they had sex with, and you have no idea. Now, I'm not judging this at all. I don't care. Like, I'm really not judging people's sex lives, right? What I'm saying is that, when you're talking about who you're going to entangle yourself with spiritually and physically and financially and emotionally and everything else, I think that if you're in your right mind, you'll take some time to vet people before you start getting too serious with them. That's how you can dodge a lot of landmines. I'll tell you this. Let me just tell myself for a minute. I hope that's okay. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. I had a time where I was single, right? And I'm a heterosexual black man, um, and I like black women. And in the work that I do, I've met, I meet a decent number of women, right? It just comes with the territory. Um, but I never want to get myself in any kind of crazy trouble. But there was one pretty lady I had my eye on. She was real sweet when I met her. Had the nice, sexy curves of a sexy black woman, and just looked real good. Don't tell Alicia I told y'all this story, but this was before Alicia and I started dating. But so what I did though, here's the thing. Um, when you have more stuff going on in your life, it's like you have to be careful. Like if you got something to lose, you can't just go messing around with anybody. You can't just be hanging out with just anybody. So I just peeped her out. I just kind of watched and just observed to see what kind of person she was. And so in the middle of that, we followed each other on Facebook. So one day she just goes off on her Facebook page and writes a really long article about her ex-husband or something or whatever, and these terrible things he did, and was telling all the family business and threw everything out there on Front Street. And I was like, oh my God, I was completely mortified because look, I know that things happen in relationships and sometimes we get mad and bad things occur and whatever, we feel hurt. But you should, in my opinion, especially for those of you that maybe are professionals or you got something going on, you never want to date somebody that will kiss and tell. Now, the only exceptions might be if somebody got raped or killed, or you know what I mean. If somebody's life was in danger, I get that. But if it's just he said, she said, like you just mad at your ex, and you date somebody that will put their ex on blast like that, that's very, very bad, especially for the men. Really, the way I see it, and maybe y'all gonna think this is old fashioned. I don't know. I think it's just common sense. I kind of came up in a space where people just kept their shit to themselves. Like that kissing and telling was kind of like just something you did not do. Like I would never go on Facebook and be like, "Oh yeah, I slept with that woman. It was great," you know. And so I think that so seeing that helped me dodge a red flag that I would not have identified if I had just moved on, and just made my move on this lady very quickly, right? So sometimes when you take your time and get to know somebody, I know this might sound tough for some of us to do, but you take your time to get to know people, a lot of times they'll tell on themselves. Like if you listen to them and let them talk, eventually you'll start the little pieces of crazy will start dropping out. It'll start dripping out. And then you got to train yourself to really listen to those signs when you see them. Most crazy people can't hold their crazy in forever. And eventually, especially if you let them feel like they're comfortable and they can just talk to you and share anything with you, eventually they're gonna share something crazy with you, right? So that's what you want to do, especially if you're serious about your life. Like a lot of you guys listen to me because you're trying to do special things with your life. You're trying to build businesses. You're trying to maybe have a strong family. You're trying to achieve certain goals, and so that really means that it's extremely important that you pick partners, productive partners, who are not only not going to disrupt what you're doing, but they're also going to add value to what you're doing. So you pick people that have core values that guide them toward success and achievement and hard work and responsibility, things like that. You also pick people that has a core value are not going to be disruptive to the relationship because maybe they got some shit going on that they don't want to mess up, right? For example, one thing I like about my fiance is, she's a professor and she studies really hard and she works really hard, and I don't have to tell her to work hard. It's not like she's some project where I gotta encourage her to do better and encourage her to see her potential and or get her to change her ways. I don't have to change shit. She was doing this before I came along, right? So you want somebody who was already doing decent shit before you came along, not somebody where you think you can convince them to start doing decent shit with their lives. Like people like that are hard to work with, you know. So when it comes to toxic people in general, there's a lot of people out here that are toxic, but then it's all in the eye of the beholder. Maybe one person's toxic partner is perfect for somebody else. But I would also say this. Here's another little thought that I had. I talked to a young guy who told me he got a divorce, and he had a ex-wife who had really gone through some trauma as a young person, and despite all that trauma, she never got therapy. And what I told him was, and he said, and I said, well, did you ask her to get therapy? She said no. He said no. She refused to get any therapy at all. And I said, next time you pick a partner, never pick a woman who refuses to get therapy. Like, and the same thing with men. Like, never pick a man. If you're a person that believes in something like therapy or self improvement, which I think should be a core value for any intelligent person that wants to do better, because being black and dealing with racism and dealing with our families or whatever can make us crazy. You know, I would just say that if you're into that stuff, pick somebody who's going to be into that with you, who will improve with you, who will do the work with you. If you pick somebody who's too stubborn to take advice, too stubborn to make any adjustments, too arrogant to actually care about your needs, that's not a person you want to be in a relationship with, because you're going to be very frustrated. So don't just pick, a lot of times we pick people. If you think about it, picking a partner is a little bit like picking a job. If you pick a job, you could pick a job just based on the fact that it's the best job you can get. It pays you the most money, has the most prestige, but they treat you like shit, right? Like, you could do that. Some people pick jobs like that. They'll pick a job that pays the highest salary, even though they hate the work, and it has the most prestige, even though their coworkers disrespect them, because they need that. They need that validation. But then you have some people who maybe who are a little more mature, who say, I don't need the job with the highest salary and the most prestige. I want to work for a company that appreciates me. I want to work for a company that understands the value that I'm bringing to the table. That tends to be, in my opinion, a more mature perspective. So I think when you pick a partner, rather than going for the person, the guy that's got the most money, or the lady with the biggest booty, or whatever it is that floats your boat, instead you respect yourself enough to say, I'm going to pick the person who treats me the best. How you treat me is going to be part of what decides whether I'm attracted to you or not. If I'm attracted to you and you don't treat me well, then that means I'm not attracted to you. Do you follow what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? It sounds like circular logic, but I hope you get the point here. If I'm attracted to you and you don't treat me well, then I can't be attracted to you anymore, because you don't treat me well. How you treat me is a factor in whether or not I'm going to be attracted to you. So those are some thoughts that I just had, guys, and I appreciate you listening to me. And I've been sitting here yapping for 56 minutes and 53 seconds, so I'm going to hang up. So and Alicia just came in, and she's looking at me funny because I haven't talked to her in an hour. So I'm gonna go talk to my woman and try to be a decent man. So it was good talking to you guys. Have a good night. And like I said, the URL for the Black Love Blueprint, the Love and Money curriculum that we have, is right there on the screen. Feel free to go take a look. Also, text the word "boys" to 31996 if you'd like to get notifications when I go live. And please hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. Also, there's a notification bell. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the notification bell. So I'm out of here, guys. Take care, and have a good night. I'll see you soon. Peace.